What's up YouTube? I'm finally back from vacation and ready to kick back into some video action. It sounded a lot cooler in my head. Anyway, today we're having a comparison that has been frequently requested by a lot of you. Today we're having a look at the Dell Inspiron 14 versus the latest Dell Inspiron 15. Now while both these are from the same manufacturer and also from the same family series, there are a handful of critical differences that may dictate which of the two you buy. So of course it's worth noting this is not a detailed or full review of either of these machines. I've already done that. I've left links in the video description below for you to check out, so feel free to have a look at those. What this is again is a high level comparison of what are some of the key differences between the two machines. As always, if you guys enjoyed this comparison, hit that like button, consider subscribing to my channel. It makes my day and genuinely helps me grow. Let's get started. To keep this comparison as fair as possible, both machines are rocking the latest i5-11300H chipset. We also have 8GB of RAM, additionally 512GB SSDs. Also, they are rocking the latest Iris Xe chipset. Also the latest Wi-Fi and Bluetooth standards. The key difference of course is that the 5410 here has a 14-inch screen while the 5510 has a 15.6-inch screen, which I'll talk about more later on in the video. It's worth noting that both devices offer the exact same I/O port configuration. However, one key difference is that the 5410 has a micro SD card reader, whereas the 5510 has a full-sized SD card reader. This may be a minor consideration for people who frequently use SD cards. In terms of the overall design language, both bodies are rocking the exact same design, so they both have a nice metallic top finish, a metallic inner chassis, and a hard TPU bottom. And I honestly wholeheartedly endorse Inspiron for one of the best build qualities in the mid-range segment overall. Also, it's worth noting the Inspiron 14 has a more modest weight of just 3.2 pounds, making it better for all-day carry around. Its bigger brother, the Inspiron 15, has a slightly heavier weight of 3.6 pounds, means it's not super heavy, but you're definitely gonna feel it after all-day carry around. Moving on to inner design, the first thing you're going to notice is that the Inspiron 15 does in fact have considerably more palm rest space than the Inspiron 14. If you have large palms, this may be a factor of consideration. One thing both these laptops nailed is the trackpad quality. So believe it or not, the trackpad size is roughly the same on both laptops. Both of them have a glass surface finish and the quality is fantastic. It's tactile, it's well calibrated and well balanced. The keyboard does have a few differences, so while the overall typing experience will feel roughly the same, both keyboards have ample key space, the key capture is sturdy, and it's super tactile but not really loud, so it's a great typing experience all in all. You will notice that the Inspiron 15 has a full-size dedicated 10 keypad, whereas the Inspiron 14 does not have this, so if you are a number cruncher, this can be a pretty big factor to consider. Also, it's worth noting, of course, both machines are fully backlit in terms of the keyboard, and they do come with a fingerprint scanner. In the display department, both these machines have respectable displays. However, it is worth noting that both the Inspiron 14 and the 15 here use the same Full HD 1080p resolution, which basically means the 14 has a slightly sharper look because it has a pixel density of 157 ppi versus the 141 ppi on the Inspiron 15. It's not a day and night difference, but it's definitely noticeable when you are particularly close to the monitor. It's also worth noting both machines have a 100% sRGB rating, and they're fantastic devices for creative users. The only downside with these displays is that both of them are capped at 300 nits at the base configuration, which is ample for most indoor settings, but when you are in an outdoor setting, you'll find that there is a fair bit of glare. Also, the Inspiron 15 does have a slight bit more amount of glare because it has more surface area to bounce off. In the performance department, both of these machines have near identical performance as you expect, since they are rocking the same internals technically. So day-to-day tasks like web browsing, a Word document type up, or even watching a video on YouTube is going to perform blazing fast as you'd expect it to. However, start doing more resource intensive activities like let's say 4K video editing, you do find that the 5510 actually has a slight bit more thermal throttling going on. Now, of course, it's worth noting both of these models have 8GB of RAM, and that in itself is a bottleneck. But I found that this trend carries on when I was gaming as well. The 5510 actually has more frame drops than the 5410. What's going on, you might ask? Well, ironically enough, the 5410 actually runs slightly cooler. So the average surface temperature for the Inspiron 14 at sustained high loads is approximately 30 degrees Celsius. In the case of the Inspiron 15, at sustained high loads, we hit an average surface temperature of 36 degrees Celsius. Now this is really ironic since the 5510 has a larger body, and generally larger the body, the more efficiently heat can dissipate. My theory is that the fan or the thermal management on the 5410 is more aggressive. The fan runs more often and often gets a little bit louder than the one on the 5510, which might allow the machine to cool more quickly. For those of you who are big on battery life, neither of these laptops is going to win any awards, but I will say the Inspiron 14 does outperform its bigger brother by approximately 1.5 hours. So at 50% brightness, doing moderately intensive tasks ranging from web browsing to watching 4K videos, I found that I got about 9 hours on the Inspiron 14 and approximately 7.5 hours on the Inspiron 15. So again, neither of the machines are great, but if you are looking for all-day battery life, you have a better chance with the Inspiron 14. The final difference to take in consideration between these two devices, of course, is the pricing. So the 5410 or the Inspiron 14 retails for approximately $650 USD in the configuration we reviewed here. The 5510 or the Inspiron 15 retails for $750 USD approximately for the configuration that was tested. Now this is a $100 USD difference, which is somewhat dramatic in my opinion, but keep in mind you do get a few added functionalities with the larger brother. For example, you have a full-size 10 keypad and also a full-size SD card reader. Depending on your use case, a $100 difference may be justifiable, but again, that's something you're going to have to think about. All in all, these machines have a lot more in common than they do apart, so you can't go wrong with either one. Both have fantastic displays, some of the best quality keyboards and trackpad in the mid-range segment. However, the battery life in the Inspiron 14 may sway you more towards it, while the larger palm rest space on the 15 may do the opposite. All in all, I hope you guys found this review to be helpful. Well, more like this comparison to be helpful. If you want more details on these laptops, because there are a ton of other things about them, make sure you check out my full reviews on either machine. I've left the links in the video description below. As always, if you enjoyed the content, hit that like button, consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next one.